this is Vivica Williams, and you're watching Head to Head on UATV. Today, we're talking about youth unemployment in Ukraine during recent downturns. To talk about the challenges the younger generation faces and what's being done to overcome them, we're joined in the studio today by Olga Nikolaieva. She's a research associate at Kyiv School of Economics. Hello, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting.
Now, I know that getting statistics to understand problems is one of the most difficult issues, and especially when it comes to something about youth unemployment. So you're working with a project that helps provide this kind of statistics, does the research.
Right. EXCEPT project is devoted to social exclusion of youth in Europe and in Ukraine. It is focused on the consequences of unemployment, on well-being, health, socioeconomic consequences, and autonomy, how young people manage to leave the parental home.
Oh, wow. So this is definitely a different kind of focus than what we see a lot of. It's the causes of them, which is what most economists focus on, is what is the cause of unemployment. But something we don't see so much covered is the consequences and how it affects those that are unemployed. But first, what's the percentage of unemployed youth in Ukraine?
Compared to Europe, unemployment rate is not very high in Ukraine. It's a bit higher for 15-24. It's about 19%. But if you say about 25-29, it's already about 11%. And compared to general number, about 9%.
And what age group do you look at or considered youth?
We were focused on 15-29. 15
to 29. All right.
And it contradicts to Ukrainian law, which foresees youth as 14-35, but we are more focused on European.
Because in the 30s, we usually see these people are in mid-career or things like that, and have different kind of focus.
And though unemployment rate is low in Ukraine, there are other problems, like we have a very high percentage of people who are not in education or employment, or also people who study for a long time, because we have a very high ratio of high school graduates who enter universities. So this is like postponed unemployment. So, and they are all not counted in unemployment.
So it's people. It's not initial college students are considered voluntarily unemployed, or is
they are considered out of labor force.
Yes.
So they are not because unemployed are those people who
are seeking
for employment and can start the job.
Right. So you're also seeing that sometimes people stay longer in the education system because there aren't employment opportunities?
For sure.
And what are you seeing are some of the consequences of unemployment? So I know that this is the main gist of the project, is looking at how this affects the well-being of youth. And what are some of the more major findings that you've come up with so far?
The direct effect, of course, is the income drop.
Oh, yeah.
But though there are other theories how this unemployment affects people's lives, it's a loss of social status, it's a loss of daily activities. So you are out of your usual networks. So you can also socialize with other networks, with other people. You can have worse health behaviors, and even if you keep up with the challenge, lower income can also not allow you, for instance, to have the same food, etc. So it's also bad for health.
Right.
Of course, just direct effect on happiness and well-being, but also can have longer-term effect on health, and sometimes longer-term socioeconomic consequences are also not that
easy to see, I imagine?
Yes, because if you are unemployed at young age, your human capital deteriorates, and later you can lose job with higher probability. So it can be a vicious cycle.
So let's talk about a few of these. And you were saying that lower human capital. So what do you mean by this?
If you work, you develop some skills. If you do not work, these skills may you may lose this.
Right.
Your skills also may be out of date later on.
And so for the youth starting out, how they don't really have that many skills to start with. So you're seeing by being unemployed at a younger age, this has a long-term effect for them?
Yes, because this at young age, they also have this formative stage of life. During this first 10 years, can have high impact on what you actually will earn in all your life.
So from the ages, what you say, like 15 to 25, or from 15 to 29?
I would say probably from the start of the career when you enter the labor market.
And those first 10 years have a major impact on what you may earn for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And so your findings have shown that this can lower for the entire life, have an impact, and someone who's being unemployed at a younger age.
Yes, we had this the research where we compared the income of people after 50 years, and we compared for those who was unemployed or was not unemployed, and also
for like a certain for how long period of unemployment?
It was the impact of just years of unemployment.
Okay. So the more years of unemployment,
the higher is the effect. Yes, and it has negative impact. So this is already for those people who are after 50.
Well, it's showing because they've missed out on so much of this growth in their career.
Yes, and also the effect is also through health and through health behavior. Like if you have worse health, you also have lower income too.
And also showing that I guess there's an issue or a correlation between being unemployed and the likelihood of accepting lower quality work.
Definitely, we should. We also have qualitative interviews with young people unemployed who cannot find a job in Ukraine and also other European countries. But we see that people who do not have jobs, they tend to accept lower quality jobs and also moonlighting. And this also has effect not even on job perspectives, but directly on health issues.
Absolutely, when they're having to work some type of long hours, especially night hours, or maybe you're also looking maybe at university students who have to work at night, or university students aren't included in this. They're not in the...
No, if they have a job, they are okay. If they have a job and they are surveyed, they are included in employment. Though, for Ukraine, it's not very typical. Not so many students work during their studies.
Right.
So after graduating, first job experience is a problem for them, especially in the field of their
majors.
Yes, in the field.
So, what were you seeing some type of correlation between types of degrees or majors that students have received and the rate of unemployment? So were there some areas or spheres where students had higher levels of unemployment?
When you look at the unemployment of 15-24, you see high number, but those students, these are people who are not in higher education usually. Right. Because at that time, students are higher. So this high rate of unemployment is maybe just because of, not just because of, but partially because of these people are without higher education.
They have no type of specialization.
On the other hand, we have too many people enrolled in higher education, higher compared to European states. Though the quality of this higher education is not very nice.
So there's a high number of people in higher education who aren't necessarily, it's not necessarily beneficial. So maybe it's not some type of training, higher education training that would lead to any kind of career. It doesn't provide them skills that are bankable or that they can use to find work. And so it's just kind of a way for them to postpone entering the workforce.
Yes, and it creates job education mismatch. And also, for instance, people with this higher education can also take jobs, lower quality jobs of those who would have had them without, so they can replace them.
So they're using, okay, I understand.
So employers might benefit from this fact that they have higher education, but actually lower skilled people can also do the same job.
So the education is not beneficial for them at that time. And what kind of takeaways have you seen from the research here? What's some of the big pictures or things that you have found that should help influence either legislation or that people really need to be more aware of?
As the researchers, we have to produce policy recommendations. And for Ukraine, what I see the most important is in policy is that in Europe there is already an understanding that youth policy should be specially tailored for youth, because general policies for everybody doesn't target them. They just do not use these opportunities. It's not an opportunities for them. So these youth policies in employment should be specially tailored for them. And at the moment, there is the development of the national plan for youth employment, and I hope this will work. And I hope that at least this introduction of such a plan will make politicians to understand that there is a need in special youth policy in employment.
Because, as they say, right, younger people are not just small adults. They have a completely different mentality and different needs and focuses.
Yes, I like your comparison.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
And that was Olga Nikolaieva. She's a research associate at Kyiv School of Economics. Thank you for watching and stay tuned with UATV.